Hi, my name's Dee and welcome to Sunchild Tarot. Now this is, well, these are even, because it's a bulk introduction, these are your full moon Gods at Play readings. Now I do the Gods at Play readings because full moons are about oppositions. They are moon opposition sun. They are also about illumination, about light being shed upon things. So they can be very much about revelation. I've made some notes about this particular full moon because let's face it, we've just come off the back of the peak of the Jupiter-Pluto Conjunction, which is playing out in a very interesting way, both in the world and energetically, if you're sensitive to that sort of thing. Certainly I noticed a little something. Little probably being a very patronising and minimising word there. But anyway, moving on. This full moon in Libra is at 18 degrees of Libra, so that is a master degree. Very much about death and rebirth, but being Libra, it's also very much about balance. And the themes that seem to be coming out of the astrologers are the balance between personal freedom and submission to a higher power, whether that be God, the divine, or whether that be governments, corporations, the law, whatever. Balance between your personal life and your relationships, and it's a very relationship themed moon as well, and also balance within, basically with your shadow self. So there's a lot of potential for work for you to be doing with your own shadow side and letting a lot of things go. This full moon in Libra is very much a declaration to act, and you may find yourself doing a complete about face on some belief or another that you have held for a long time, where you suddenly go, you know what? It's not even that I used to be wrong, but now I'm going to do something completely different because what I did think doesn't apply anymore. And it may well be some form of illumination that brings this to the surface. Now, there isn't a question with this reading. We are looking at the energies that are in play. The top row, it takes a very Gnostic view of the gods, seeing them as archontic forces or energies that are pressing us down, that are trying to separate us from our higher purpose, our higher selves. The bottom row of cards will be those forces, gods or energies that are trying to lift us up, that are assisting us to reach towards our higher purpose, our higher self, ascension, if you're into that sort of thing. Now, there's a timestamp, like I said, down below. You can fast forward through all my blurb because you want to look at your sun sign, probably first, which everybody does, but your rising sign as well. And it's a full moon. Look at your moon sign. You can examine other areas of your chart as well. And I will say in the readings which house this is happening in for which rising sign. Anything else, any other details, they're in the description below. Please press like, it helps promote the video. Please subscribe, it helps the channel, and I am very, very grateful. And thank you so much for everybody who has subscribed so far. I think I've only said that in about one video, and I'm slowly approaching 400 videos already, but I'm still a young channel and every subscriber helps. There is a link to a Facebook group down there, so if you want to see maybe slightly more effective notifications than the YouTube notifications of when I release new videos, but also I post all the astrology videos that I am learning stuff from because they're good astrologers and they're well worth a watch, simple as that. And sometimes I post readings from other readers because they deserve the exposure and they're good readers. There is a lot of good readers. Quick plug, Divinely Feminine, Woke Therapist, Jamie Zebra 23, Queen Cup. That was the other one that I wanted to recommend, Queen Cup. I think that's everything. Oh, finally, if you don't know what your rising or moon sign are, there's a link down there. You can get a free birth chart by following that link. You just need to know your time and place of birth as well as your date. So, I think I've waffled enough. With no further ado, let me bring up the cards. And welcome to Virgo Rising, Virgo Moon, and all the other placements who may be joining us after the timestamp. Now, if you are Virgo Rising, this is occurring in your second house. So you may find that you are seeking balance with your assets, finances, and the things that you value. And I'm going to stick with things that you value because protection is an issue here. It is seen to be working against you in the form of Anubis and working for you in the form of Isis. So I'm rather getting the impression, especially since these are directly diagonal from one another, that you are going to be called to think outside the box a little. You are not just protecting something to make sure it hits no end, or to make sure that it does definitely hit an end. You are wanting to protect something to allow it to have rebirth and to give it the space for that rebirth, but nurture it so that it's not exposed too much to chaotic forces. What we have for you here, Anubis with protection. These are the gods that are trying to suppress you, or the god forces that are trying to suppress you. Nuit with expansiveness. Galiach with endurance, Dionysus with merrymaking, and Bellerophon with humility. Trying to uplift you and get you back in touch with your divine self, your higher self, your ascension, whichever. We have Vishnu with balance, which is no real surprise on a Libra full moon. Isis with protection, who I've already discussed. Maat with judgment. Medusa with the feminine, and Heracles with strength. So you have two, in fact, recurring themes that are both working for and against you, which is making me feel that you need to decide where you are focusing your energies. So we have... sorry, dog's barking next door. We have Heracles with strength working for you, giving you that energy to move forward, and giving you that energy when you are maybe feeling, hang on a minute, that's not for me, I'm not good enough, I'm not strong enough, I'm not worthy, to quote Bill and Ted. And I think that that would be an unfair judgment of yourself, because there's almost an implication that you may be asked to join peers in some form of effort, because the angel energy looking after all of this is the Archangel Gabriel. I am made whole by the message of love, brotherhood, and freedom. And freedom is another theme of this full moon. So there's something that you may be working towards. Whatever you are working towards and whatever you are trying to protect, needs to be in a smallish space, to be nurtured and allowed space to grow, but not too much space so that it is exposed. But where you are called upon strength is going upon a new direction, not where it's the sense of endurance of doing the same old, are we still doing this? Still, after all of this time, and all you're doing there is trying to stop something coming to an end, or ensure that something is coming to an end with Anubis here. Because I really do feel that Anubis held the scales that weighed the feather against the heart, didn't he? So again, there's that sense of balance, but I feel that, especially with the frown he's got on his face, although I don't think I've ever seen a picture of Anubis where he's not frowning, that those scales are not balanced, and trying to expand whatever you was protecting beforehand, your call for protection is going into a whole new realm. It's going into a very, very different thing, because you can see how that protection has been holding you back with the gift of Vishnu and balance here. It is time for you to make a decision. Do I carry on carrying on, or do I launch onto a whole new path? Interestingly, you need to be receptive to those paths opening up to you, but they offer you victory. We have Lauia with card number 11 out of the Angel of Heaven and Hell oracle. I still can't pronounce some of the Shem HaMephorash, which I can barely say that without thinking about the word first twice. But something that also stands in your way is Dionysus. Now here it says we're merrymaking. Now considering most of us are socially isolated, that could also include the influence of Neptune in Pisces and hitting the bottle or any other intoxicants just a little bit too much at the moment, because you're just trying to endure rather than trying to be strong and carrying on. There's some judgments that you have to make here, where there's something that you want to nurture and allow it enough space to grow, but not so much space that it is exposed, and a new cause, possibly with other people, where you are moving forward in the cause of brotherhood and freedom. Bear in mind that, now which planet it was? There was some planet that was in, it must be Uranus or Pluto. It's in the same position as what it was in the American Civil War, and it hasn't been back there since. This is the first visit since, so that must be Pluto. Must be. So, no, I'm not saying that you need to go out and cause a revolution, but maybe you do need to cause a revolution in your own personal life, whether that's in a work environment, in your local friends, how you're using your finances, since this could be a second house issue. But balance is going to be painfully obvious to you where it needs to be and where it isn't. But if you get the feeling that I can't do this, I'm not good enough, rubbish. Absolute rubbish. You wouldn't be called to this task if you didn't have the strength to do it. That's what I'll call this reading. So, I haven't even done the tarot yet, have I? Let's. I've already shuffled them quite a bit. Let's see if I've got anything to add. Because, okay, they flipped over quickly. So, okay, what you've been called to protect feels like so you don't want, but you don't want, but you do want whatever this new role is. Because with the humility, with that sense of, oh, I'm not actually good enough, I can't do this, we have the Nine of Cups, wish fulfillment. But if you take the strength of Heracles, you've got the Two of Cups, forming a unity between two forces within your life, day-to-day self and shadow self, external and internal, masculine and feminine, whatever, work and family even, it can be that simple. But it's like you felt that it was a wise thing to do to protect whatever it is that you've been protecting, but it isn't growing anything. All it is protecting is a form of death, whereas the balance is, that sense of balance is bringing you guidance. It's bringing you, it is the Four of Cups, where God is offering you a cup and saying, oi, try this. It tastes nice. And that's God, not the evil stepmother, witch queen, whatever, from fairy tales. There's no apples in this cup. With the Isis protection, that's clarified by the Knight of Wands. So it's that sense of moving forward and manifesting by giving just enough space to allow something to be reborn, to allow something to be put back together and be better than what it was before. The time to make decisions about this is now, because that sense of endurance, that sense of, will this never end? It's qualified here by the Nine of Wands, which is another sense of being defensive, the wounded warrior. You're doing the last stretch, and I don't think this is a marathon that you really need to run the last mile of, because there's something interesting and something better for you that's that way, and the finish line that you were heading for is over there, and it doesn't matter because that is now irrelevant. But you have to be receptive, and you have to be receptive to keeping secrets and learning secrets. But you have to have a little bit of strategy for you to move forward. But you are more than capable of this. more than capable. So I've got nothing else to add there really, Virgo. So your next reading will be your monthlies. If this means anything to you, comment down below. I've given you the like, share and subscribe speech. So good luck, weigh everything up, because Vishnu with balance, Mart with judgment, both gods of the balance, and Anubis weighed the heart against the feather. So if anybody is being called to balance things under this balancing new moon, full moon, it's you. Cheers.